Can you follow the logic of these critics? I can't. Head over to Rotten Tomatoes and you'll see that the audience gave Fiddler on the Roof 92% and the critics gave it just 81%. So now it's time for us to roast the critics who hate Fiddler on the Roof. Jeremy Heilman from MovieMartyr.com says, Norman Jewison's mind-numbingly literal adaptation of the stage musical is no disaster, but it certainly has its limitations. Does he literally want less literal? Okay, well, let's change some things up. Instead of Tevye having 3 daughters, let's give him 3 sons, right? And we'll just name them Schnitzel, Hoshea, and Hamas. Would that be more to his liking? Or how about, instead of the characters being Jewish, we make them Hispanic? So we set the story in Mexico. Except, what Mexican plays the fiddle? Guess we'll just have to give him some maracas! Now, I might be reading a little bit too far into this, but I do feel like if we race swapped the Jewish people out of Fiddler on the Roof with I don't know, people of blonde hair, blue eyes, Aryan descent, I think that would make Mr. Heilman very happy. Very happy indeed. Yeah. Vincent Canby from New York Times says, they want to show us everything, to give us our money's worth. In so doing, they've not just opened up the play, they've let most of the life out of it. This is pre-revolutionary Russia. They weren't exactly being fed escargot on golden spoons. I mean, they're still under the rule of a weak czar. It's bitterly cold. They're poor out of their minds. Was Vincent hoping that everybody would just go around singing the opening song to Beauty and the Beast? Bonjour, bonjour, I say again I do. I mean, the fact that there's any songs and any jokes in this entire movie, which is very, very depressing, is a miracle to begin with. Tom Milne from Time Out says, very hard to take with the film sitting up and practically slobbering in its eagerness to prove how lovable it is. You know, he's right. You know what other movies fit this description? Literally every movie ever made. You don't become one of the most beloved movies of all time without attempting to prove your worth. Joseph Gelmus from Newsday says, a respectable, lively, and pictorially accomplished movie musical which develops hardly any emotional voltage and which is curiously joyless. No emotional voltage? No tears? No warm fuzzies? What about the scene where Tevye is sitting at the train station saying goodbye to his last and youngest daughter? If that doesn't bring you sorrow, then you are a lifeless robot made out of stone who's been castrated by the bitterness of life. Get a heart. Howell Raines from Atlanta Journal-Constitution says director Jewison has simply used his cameras as tools to construct a larger, more expansive stage on which to present the play. If you ask me, this Howell fellow seems very jealous of the filmmaker's production budget. And that only leads me to assume that growing up, Howell must have been very poor and he wanted to be a showman, and so he would put on puppet shows for friends, for his schoolmates. He was so poor, they didn't even have socks. So instead he just used his daddy's condoms and just did puppet shows with those. That was his origin story, right? So now he takes his anger and pushes it on people who can actually produce quality stories for the world to enjoy. Kevin Kelly from Boston Globe says, the care of its wisdom and its warmth has been flattened and forced, which is, of course, what happens when the focus of the audience's vision is directed by the camera. So you're telling me that literally every movie ever made is devoid of warmth and charm? Because they're viewed through the lens of a camera? What about your home movies? The home movies where you're a child running around the Christmas tree in your underwear. You fall over and cry. Mother Sue comes by and scoops you up into her arms. She takes a Christmas cookie and shoves it down your mouth, but you don't want it because it has raisins. She says, I don't care. You're gonna eat my damn cookie. Cry and you cry. She keeps pressing it. She's got her other hand in your mouth now. Pressing, stuffing. She's packing that raisin Christmas cookie into your mouth. Now it's down to your throat. You can't breathe. Your eyes are welling up with tears. Your face is red. Your brother slaps you with a banana peel because you won't shut up. But it's Christmas. Those old Christmas memories. You can't find joy and warmth in those because there's a camera lens between those memories and you, the viewer. Do you see the lack of intelligence in this man's or Kelly's review? Wayne Harada from Honolulu Advisor says, rather than adhere to a simple story, which Fiddler is, he has opted to fiddle around with bigness. Widescreen, vast vistas, camera trickery, hyped up music. Cancel The Lord of the Rings! Production value is too high. It looks too good. It sounds too real. It's all too vast and beautiful. I can't handle it. There's songs, there's poetry, there's emotion, there's horror. Get rid of it all. That's what Wayne Harada would say on the set of Lord of the Rings. He'd be on the set of Fiddler on the Roof and he'd say, tone it down a notch. He'd say, we don't need songs in Fiddler on the Roof. We don't even need a fiddle. Hell, we don't even need the fiddler. Throw the fiddler off the roof. It's too much. That's what Wayne would say. Swap out the 35-year-old Tevier for an actual 50-year-old man who can't sing and dance. And hell, while we're at it, let's get a circumcised man on set. Can you follow the logic of these critics? I can't. Ha! I'm trying to, but I fell off the train. I can't get on board. They're all just a bunch of koos. Look that up in Hebrew. The most honest review is from somebody from Film 4. He calls Fiddler on the Roof a joyous celebration not only of roots and culture, but of life itself. Thanks for watching. Godspeed. I mean, does he want less literal? Does he literally want less literal? Does he literally want less literal? Snitchel, Hosea, and Hamas. I went way overboard. We'll name them Schnitzel. I know. I say again, I do. How's it go? That's a different musical.
So maybe think twice.
Running around the Christmas tree in your underwear. I don't know. Oh, wait.
I'm sorry, let us stop everything we're doing so that you can make a video. 5 people on the internet.